Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. It is Secret Lives of Color today, and what are we on? We're on block number 12. That means I get to set another section, and I am going to take this down and put up on the wall what's there so that we can see the colors, and so I can see the colors. The royal we, me. I want to see the colors up on the wall. So what is our color today from our book, The Secret Lives of Color? It is Naples Yellow, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous shade of yellow. So there is the shade. So nice. It starts out with a mystery of little tiny bottles found. When was they found? Oh, in the 70s. And the history of the color, though, is way old. It's not, a color that is used today, but the history of it is very interesting, and apparently yellow was not a real stable color for artists to use for a really long time. It would change, it wouldn't hold its color. So that was kind of interesting. A lot of that seems to be as paints developed, they had to find ways to get the paints to stay more vibrant for longer periods of time. So interesting. So here is mine. And I decided to use the pink, go with one of the really pale pinks that I'm working with. And I want to talk about that, about picking the colors for the actual shades, because a few of you have written, oh, I don't have that much fabric, I don't have those exact yellows or white or red whenever we get to it, whatever. And people are like, you're stressing out. Like, please, please, relax, have fun. Just find something similar enough if you want to sew along. It doesn't have to be exact. This isn't like a test. We're not in college. You're not going to be graded on how well you match the color in the book. Just find a range and work in that range. Also, if you have fabric that changes shades, you might be able to go from two different places of a fabric if it's modeled and get like a lighter and a darker shade of from the same piece of fabric. The other thing is, a few people asked me if I was going to document this somehow, like if I was going to write the colors on here, like, that this was Naples yellow. I am not. That doesn't interest me. I have the book. I'm enjoying just, working along and having fun with it. I don't need to document it. But if you do, you could write it right on the blocks on the front, be the front of your quilt. You could do a label for the back and list all the colors. There's lots of ways that you could do it. When we did the Splendid Sampler, one of the ladies did like her whole backing was like another quilt, because it put the names of each of the blocks and the designer who did it behind them as they were on the setting. So when you reverse the quilt, you could see these names, these name blocks all on the back. And that's really fun. And if that's something that you're like, oh, that would be really cool to do, then do it. But I'm not doing that. I'm just making the top. I'm very, very excited to see what it's going to look like when I put it up there in a minute. The other thing today is Inventors Day. It's celebrating inventors, and I think as quilt makers we can definitely celebrate those people who have designed our wonderful, wonderful machines, and all the amazing notions we have, like rotary cutters and great seam rippers. Yes, we have to have those. Threads, wonderful threads, all the other tools, like who invented bookbinding way back when? Yes, we thank you. So celebrate your favorite inventors today. I think that would be a super fun thing to do. Why not? Okay, I have to take this down, and then I'll put up the other blocks. Here are all my blocks together so far, and then I have the next one, but I realized I didn't use the right size. I made 12 instead of, I made 9 instead of 6. I need a 6-inch block. So I'm just going to put this here for the color of it so that we can see. Let me get a pin. All right, so we can see the color. I'm gonna have to remake that. Duh. Okay. I am really loving the concept of these pinks, aquas, and greens with the white, because that is going to be the primary colors I'm going to see, even as the shoe fly part rather changes as we go along. So I have got 1, 2, 3, this is my 4th row, And on the pattern, I will mark off the 4th row there, and that means there's 2 more for this segment. So what I want to do is figure out the other colors. I'm going to go through here, and I have pulled the yellows, and then I will pull the companion fabrics so that I know the flow of how I want the colors to go across the row here. Well, I certainly am going to have a lot of bonus blocks doing this so long if I don't pay attention to what size I'm working on. So I need to remake my block in a 6-inch size, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. Guess what I decided to do? I decided that I really didn't want another pink on that top row, so I took, remember I did each size of this yellow? So I went ahead and switched out to the 6-inch, so I'm keeping the 9-inch of this guy. Now I'm very happy with that flow, and that's something I have to keep monitoring, is kind of the flow of the colors so that I don't get like a whole line of pink or a whole line of green. Looks good. Okay, before I forget, I want to show you the finish. The table runner is done. I have the binding on. I did blanket stitch by machine, which is in my books, and I have a tutorial on my website. And the back again, for those of you who love seeing the back, there are the layer cake pieces added together and the partial layer cakes, and then the cutoff from the quilt that is my harmony fabric. So this is going on my coffee table in the living room. Yes! What about that little pillow? I worked on that as well. So I have this little pillow that it's tiny. It's like a little mini pillow. So I had done one of the crumb blocks in 2021, and I did a little big stitch quilting on it, which I really like. So I think I'm going to do the same thing again. I have a little clip here of looking at which kind of crumb block I want to do. I picked up some crumb blocks to take a look at to see if I can put them into this small pillow so that I can have a pink pillow out there. And I've got this one with the animal, the cat, you know, and I just love that one. It's got some swans in it, but this, it's too small. But I like the colors on this one a lot. The other one I have is this guy, which is also a lot of pink, so we'll go in there. But I think I'm going to go with this one. And it needs to be a little bit bigger. So what I did is I have some of the strips left from the heart quilt, and I think I'll just sew those around and see if it's, I don't think it's going to be quite big enough. So I have this grouping that is all, this is all that's left from that layer cake, plus you know, a little bit more, like there's my harmony. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one big enough, and I'll put this one back in the pile with the others. So here's how it ended up. I ended up sewing just a little bit from the leftover strips, worked out those were from that table runner. So I did those, and now this is being big stitched by me with 12 weight Aurifil thread. So the 12 weight is thicker. You can see it there. I have some videos on this. Just put Aurifil in the search box. I'm also trying out the thimble I showed you in the video the other day. These are the ones by Gypsy people, whatever that name is, and it's called Nail It. So you know, you can put, so if you have nails, they do have ridges up on the side. I'm the kind of person who I need a ridge on the side because I actually push from the side. So this is I have a couple thimbles that I use. This is an antique one, and you can see they're called tailor's thimbles, and you can see that it has ridges all the way around, and that's the way a lot of the tailor's thimbles are. So I have 2 of those. This is the antique one. I have to go hunt around where I've put the other one because I haven't seen it for a while. It's probably in a bag with handwork stuff. So I don't know where it is. So I'm going to have to go and find that and so I can use it. But I think that little pillow is, it's pretty much done. I'm just doing a little bit of stitching, and that'll go in the living room too. I did hunt around, so I thought, well, instead of a crumb block, I could just do one piece of fabric, and I discovered I had this little Kewpie fabric. So cute. Now this is an older one, but there's always sort of Kewpie fabrics out there. Right now there is some with like sewing stuff, so I will link you below and at my website today, because the Kewpie with the sewing stuff is so adorable. Okay, just in case you need a little Kewpies in your life. What else do I have? I have a little mail call. Let me do that. This one is from Barb in Arizona. She found me a quilting card. That's just great. I mean, how often do you see quilting cards? Another fabric store. Looks like someone set the GPS to quilt shop mode. Yes, yes, I want that on mine. So she also sent me some of the National Park edges from the National Park fabric. Look at that. I love it. Look, look, look. So cute. My niece is a park ranger. Yes, she is. I've showed you some stuff I've done for her. And then Miss Deb in California sent me a sweet note and a Valentine card with a little Starbucks goodie in it. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful mail. You guys are the best. You're the best. Okay, what else have we got going on? Okay, all right. Coming up soon, I was looking at what are we gonna work on in the future, and there's two things I want to talk about. One is our Fat Eighth project, and that is doing the quilt called, whoops, I just stepped on the cord. Doing the quilt called Flapjack, and I want to show you the quilt that I did when this first came out, and I did it for the Fat Quarter Shop. It's a free pattern, and it has multiple sizes, so that's so nice. This is the lap size, but there's also a crib for a smaller one. There's a twin bed and a queen. So this is the Flapjack. It's a super easy project, very, very fun. Rectangles and squares again, my friends. Which means, I don't know, I think they just go faster. So I've got, you know, I put together, or I kept a lot of the Fat Eighth bundle that I had gotten and then added to it. So I will talk about that in a little detail on another day. But what you need to do is download the pattern. It's at my website, and it's at the link below. So download the pattern and then go looking for something you can use. A Fat Eighth is half of a fat quarter. So let's say you have a partial fat quarter. So like you have a bunch of fat quarters. Well, then you can just add some other fabrics to it to make it up. You might have a Fat Eighth bundle that you've bought. I've also have links to to all the Fat Eighth bundles at the Fat Quarter Shop, so you can go look. Maybe you want to buy a new bundle. This is the one that has the Pretty Owl fabric. Let me just set this down. So we have the Pretty Owl fabric that I think I'm going to do a little mini pillow. I think I'll take a piece of this and keep it off for that little pillow. So this size, I think it'll be cute. So I can put a little owl on there. Yeah. And that'll be an accent to go with that quilt. Well, we're probably going to give the quilt away, but it'll be for me, the owl. So you want to take a look at that and get ready for that. The other thing is in March, we're going to do a block a day. And I've been looking at what my block a day options are. You know, there's tons of options, but to do one a day, this will be the third one we've done. We've done 2020, 2021, and we may have done more than one in 2020. But I've learned that it needs to be simple or it's just not going to happen. Doing a block a day has to be simple. So I have my string bean block, which is kind of a log cabin but rectangle size, which is kind of fun. Then there's also a log cabin, like a half log cabin. So I think those are fun, where you have a center and then it's off sides. So here is what like the quilt would be. And then there's also the little floating stars. Floating, you know, everybody loves stars and log cabins. So I think both of those are, both of these, you know, all three of these are good options, but we'll have to take a vote. So if you want to just sort of leave me a comment today so I can sort of skim them and see what's going on, but I think I'll have to do a poll to see where most people are with which they want to do. And then that way we, you know, Of course, you don't have to do the same one everybody else is, but that is what I will be making. So I've got to figure that out in the near future here. All right, so apparently I need to remake my block in a smaller size. So when you see my pictures I show you, it'll be the right size. Plus I'm going to sew up that section, and I will take a picture of that too, so you can see it. But geez Louise. All right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for joining me here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.